Guys, we're back against my home wall at a slightly different angle because my phone is not cooperating. Corona has left me in my house and it's allergy season, so my nose is so red and it's so dry and it's so gross. So I'm so sorry all of you have to see this. I look like a total mess. I sound like I'm sick because allergies. All of my classes have been moved online, so we're doing great. Yay. Hello everyone, my name is Janelle and welcome back to my channel. So before I start out with the actual video, I just wanted to talk about basically what every other person who's posting videos on YouTube is talking about. Yes, the coronavirus is a thing right now. My family is practicing as much social distancing as we possibly can. My mom's a nurse at a nursing home, so you know it's very important for my mom. She also has asthma. My brother has diabetes. Like, my family is pretty susceptible, and we also live in New York, where there are over 7,000 cases at the time of recording this. So you know it's really imperative that we all practice social distancing, but I will continue to upload as normal. All of my classes for school have been moved online, so I will be staying home. Yeah, so I hope everybody's doing pretty well, everyone's staying safe, and I will actually be uploading probably a video about our experience with Corona and how we're dealing with it, because I'm kind of losing it, but that's fine. That's not what today's video is about, but that's just the kind of disclaimer thing. So today's video is going to be uploaded on another anniversary day. It's probably the most important anniversary day that I could possibly have in terms of fandom in my entire life. The day I'm uploading this is the 8-year anniversary of me being a Directioner, and that has sparked something incredible in my life. It was basically, being a Directioner was kind of the catalyst for me being a fangirl, for me doing a ton of other things. And I honestly, I know I talked about this in my 5 Sauce video, but I wouldn't have even been a fangirl for 5 Seconds of Summer if it wasn't for One Direction. And I'm just going to talk about my experience, look back. It's also One Direction's 10-year anniversary this year in July. I know it's insane. It's been 8 years since What Makes You Beautiful came out. Like, that's how long it's really been. And yeah, so this is gonna sound absolutely ridiculous to you guys, but on March 26th, 2012 at 12:05 p.m. I listened to What Makes You Beautiful for the very first time, and I didn't know that that day, that time, would change my life forever. It sounds so stupid. Like, you guys are probably like, oh my god, she knows the exact date, the exact time. So here's some contextual background to this. I had never heard of One Direction prior to 2012. They had been around since 2010, but they participated in the X Factor in the UK, so I actually didn't know who they were. I just knew I had friends that were kind of obsessed with them, and so they would always talk about them at lunch, and this was in like the 7th grade. So a couple of my friends were always talking about Harry and Zayn. I was like, who the hell are you guys talking about? I eventually was just like, they would always mention One Direction, and they were always singing their songs and writing lyrics and stuff. I was like, alright, whatever. On March 26th, I was watching TV. I don't remember what I was watching, but I was watching TV, and Up All Night had just come out, the album, and they were promoting it on TV. And so the iconic Baby You Light Up My World Like Nobody Else had come on, and I was like, holy shit, ooh, okay, like, that kind of sounds like a bop. So I looked up What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction, and I still remember the exact video. It's not, I don't know if it's up on YouTube anymore, but it is the first video I watched. It was slightly higher pitched, the lyric version, because I didn't watch the music video for some reason, because I just wanted to know the song, and I fell in love with it. I had a Facebook post actually talking about how much I loved it, and I was like, oh, but I'm still not a Directioner. And my friend was like, you will, you're gonna fall into the rabbit hole. I was like, no, I'm not. A couple weeks later, it was like spring break, and I was kind of bored, and then I was listening to other One Direction songs, like Gotta Be You was up, I think One Thing was up, One Thing and the acoustic version of it. Like, More Than This hadn't come out. I don't even think they'd gone on tour yet for Up All Night. Wow, that was a time. YouTube recommended me like One Direction funny moments, and so I clicked on the video and I fell in love with their personalities. I was 12 at this time, so I fell in love with their personalities, and I was like, I need to know the original source. And then I looked up the video diaries that they did while they were on the X Factor, and that's where hook, line, sink, boom, and it was over for me. It was over. I fell in love with them. I'm a Niall girl, if anybody was wondering. Niall also has a new album out, so go stream it. I will link it in the description below. I will put it somewhere up here. Go stream his album, his song, amazing. Also, I'm gonna also tell you to stream Harry's, stream Louis', stream Liam's. Zayn is a whole other issue that we will get to later. But Zayn's music is low-key fire, so I will link it. One Direction ended up being this pivotal point in my life, and it's crazy because they came to my local mall that year, right before I really had gotten into them. I still go to that mall to this day, and the GameStop in that mall, Louis and Liam were in. Like, One Direction were in that GameStop, and every single time I'm with my two best friends, every time we pass it, we always think about how One Direction was in there. And my friend, she tells all the time, she's like, my mom really saw their tour bus, and we had no idea because they weren't fans yet. And it's just crazy to think that, you know, One Direction was really this catalyst for a ton of other things, because One Direction was the real gateway to me becoming a real fangirl. Like, Harry Potter was probably the first fandom I remember vividly being a part of, but One Direction was really the one that took it to this next level. One Direction led to 5 Seconds of Summer, eventually led to, I was a Janoskinator for a while. Oh god, that was a long time ago. You know, it's kind of what led me into this real fangirl transition of K-pop, because I was a really big fan of it even before One Direction, but I didn't become like a fangirl until junior or senior year of high school. And One Direction, that fandom itself, shaped a lot of who I am and a lot of my internet personality. If you you know, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Tumblr, shameless self-plug. I made Twitter to follow One Direction. I made Tumblr to follow One Direction. I made my Instagram partially to follow One Direction and to my friends, but like a lot of people that I followed were like celebrities and stuff. That was my original purpose. I was on Stan Twitter for a while, and Stan Twitter is a whole other issue that I'm not going to talk about in this video. One Direction really led to that. I remember when Live While We're Young was coming out, and every single artist I'd listened to at the time that I really followed, their second album always disappointed me. I listened to Up All Night, I'm not joking, every single day. Like, every single day. And I didn't listen to the album itself on YouTube. It was before, like, you had, like, the whole copyright thing was the thing. So I listened to this like playlist of every single studio version of One Direction song that there was, and I added it to my Zune, which that's how you know how old this was. I used a Zune, which is an MP3 player that was supposed to rival an iPod at the time. Didn't work out, but I loved that thing, and I had every single One Direction song on there, including Forever Young. And it had, you know, all the deluxe editions and stuff. And I remember the order that this album was in, or like the order that this person had placed all the songs in, so vividly that I honestly, to this day, 8 years later, I could probably still predict what song comes next in that playlist. That's how much I listened to it every single day, like at least once a day for probably 2 years. So I remember when Live While We're Young came out, and I thought I was going to be disappointed, because that's what I was used to. And Live While We're Young dropped, I think, while I was in school, and I listened to it, and it was fantastic. I loved it so much, and I was like, yo, this whole thing is a bop, right? And Kiss You came out, Little Things. I remember the drastic voice change that Harry had was like shook the whole fandom. We were like, holy shit, this boy is grown now. Take Me Home, to this day, is still one of my, I think is still my favorite One Direction song, my favorite One Direction album to this day. It is iconic. Everything about it is so amazing. I am so mad I didn't go to their Take Me Home tour. I am so mad. You have no idea. That would have been like my perfect tour. They were in Long Island in the Jones Beach Theater. Normally when I go to concerts, I either have to go to New Jersey or I have to go into New York City, but this was in like Long Island, and I was like, I could have seen them. I begged my parents, and my parents said no, and we were in the Philippines at that point anyway, but my parents were like, yeah, we won't buy you tickets, but you can sit outside the venue and just listen to the song. Oh my god. And 5 Seconds of Summer, that's when Five Sauce were first opening up for them, and so it would have been 2 birds and 1 stone. I could have heard Try Hard. It would have been so good. It would have been so good, and I'm so mad I didn't go to Take Me Home. And Harry's hair. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna talk about that. nope, we're not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. At that point, it like stopped becoming a phase. Everyone's like, oh, it's just a One Direction phase. Like, you're gonna get over them. Like, you're 13. Like, in a couple of years, they're gonna die off, and you're not gonna care about them anymore. Well, guess what, Mom? It is 8 years later, and I am still crying. And you still make fun of me for it. Like, literally to this day, family, friends, and other friends that I have, they're like, oh, Janelle, what about One Direction? You know, they're not coming back. You know, they broke up and they're not. Shut up! Okay, let me live my life. And they were like the first group that didn't disappoint me and the first group that I really clung on to. And I don't regret it a single bit. And getting to see them for the Where We Are tour in 2014 with my two best friends, the story, I think I mentioned this in 5 Seconds of Summer. In that video, if you haven't seen it, I will link it down below. Also, shameless self-promo. And my two best friends had seen it, or they were going, and I didn't ask my parents because I knew they'd say no, but then the tickets went on sale in like October, and then it was like March, and my parents were like, oh, we would have let you go, and I cried so much because I was like, I wanted it so bad. And I remember like when I bought the tickets and I had to go with my brother, and I remember sitting in that stadium and just hysterically sobbing because I never thought I'd get to see I'd never have the opportunity to see them live like that. Like, I never thought in a million years that I didn't care where I was sitting, and that's also kind of what led to future concert experience and stuff that I have. I don't care where I'm sitting. I'm just grateful that I can even get the opportunity to go, because for a really long time my parents said no. And so that's something that I've always carried with me throughout every concert. But I saw them for that, and it was incredible. It was one of the most amazing nights of my life. I still have tons of recordings. Oh my god, it was amazing. And then I saw them the year after for On the Road Again, and I was on the floor, and it's the first and only floor concert that I had that wasn't like a bar setting. It was insane. My friend and I, we were all the way in the back, like very last row of floor, but I remember like we were so close in comparison to what we thought it was. Alright, ready? It was insane, and I wouldn't do floor again after, like, that taught me that floor is not for me. I'm 5'2.5", like, floor is not for me unless I'm wearing these killer heels that'll break my ankle. If you do that, you do you, sis, but that's not me. It was incredible, and I remember, this is the video that I show everybody when people don't believe I'm a fangirl. So they're in Better Than Words, Niall sings his part, and he goes, best I ever had, hips don't lie, you make me want it, and he, like, reaches down, you know, to the area. And the year before, they'd performed Better Than Words because Better Than Words was part of me. But he went for it, and in Where We Are, I screamed, but On the Road Again, I saw it on the actual, so for Where We Are, I was too far back, so I had to look at it through the screen, and he was wearing a white shirt, so the lights kind of washed him out. But for Ocha, I was on the floor, and I saw it with my own eyes. Like, I'm looking over here, and he's right there, and I see it. I lost it. I remember screaming so hard that night that I was 3 songs in, and I was holding onto the chair in front of me for dear life because my chest felt so compressed I couldn't breathe. My chest hurt so bad I thought I was gonna pass out, and I was like, Janelle, you are not passing out, because if you pass out you're gonna miss this opportunity and I'll never forgive you. No, and then after that, later that year, they ended up going on hiatus, and they said 18 months, and it's currently been 5 years, and I'm still salty about it, but I'm also very proud of everything that they've done individually. Corona's really messing with my plans, so Harry is going to be in MSG for his next tour, supposedly, July 6th, 7th, and 8th. My birthday is July 8th, and I turned 21, so I wanted to go see Harry for my 21st birthday, but we'll see if that's still happening. One Direction have meant everything to me. It's, like, being a fangirl, and this is kind of where it started, and I think a lot of people don't understand why people fangirl. One Direction made me understand why. Like, it's not just a bunch of crazy, weird people chasing after them in cars, which it is, and if you're doing that, why? Just why? You're not being safe to you, you're not being safe to your celebrities and stuff. I have other opinions about that, but One Direction made me realize why people did it. And at that time, you know, I was obsessed with One Direction. I gripped onto them for dear life. If I could delete any year from my life, it would be 2012. Bad times. I struggled a lot in 2012, like a lot. That was the year that I started catching up to all my brother's old teachers, and so they all knew me as Jan's sister, so I stopped being my own person and started living in the shadow of my older brother. Being a first child is hard, but being the next child in line and being the youngest is also really hard, because now you've got standards to live up to, and people always expected things, and it was just not a great time in my life. Like, I remember crying a lot. I used to sit alone at lunch a lot. It's not great. I also liked this boy at the time, and it seemed to me like he liked my best friend more, and I couldn't figure out why. Me and my best friend were so similar that I couldn't figure out why this boy liked her but not me, and that led to a whole other set of issues. And throughout all of that, One Direction was really kind of the catalyst for being super supportive. Not One Direction themselves, but the fandom itself was so incredibly helpful, because there were so many people that kind of felt the same way that I did, and were willing to talk, and were willing to help, and we really supported each other. My two best friends to this day, my two very best friends, I met through One Direction. Well, I didn't meet them through One Direction, but we really bonded because of our love for One Direction. And to this day, they're still two of my absolute best friends, and I love them with all of my heart. I met so many other friends through One Direction, and because of One Direction, I've become a fangirl for other things, and that led me to meeting other people. And even when I went to KCON, last year, it was insane, because I was talking about how I used to fangirl for 5 Seconds of Summer and One Direction, and a lot of people did that too. And so, you know, it really helped me form a lot of friendships and a lot of, really personable relationships with other people, and I did all of that through them, and they helped me out through so much, and I could never, thank them enough for that, because One Direction is, no matter what I do, One Direction will always be, my OG boys, the ones that really helped me through a really, really tough time in my life. I love them, and I will support them until the end of time, even individually, whether they have a reunion or not. But if they have a reunion, you best believe I'm dropping my whole life and my whole bank account for that shit. I am not missing it. Thank you very much. I am me because of them. I know who I am because of them. And, being a fangirl is something I so closely identify with, that it's on a lot of my bios. Whenever I talk to my friends or whenever I tell people about my personality, I'm a fangirl. First and foremost, I am a fangirl. Janelle and One Direction are so closely coupled together that it's kind of incredible that they've had this much impact. And even to this day, everyone's like, oh yeah, are you still into One Direction? Yes. The answer is yes. In the 8th grade, because on my Zune, I had to download all the songs onto a USB and then plug it into a computer to get it onto my Zune, because for some reason my main computer didn't do it, and it was on this USB that I used for school, and I plugged it in for a presentation, and the whole thing popped up. Oh my god, the whole thing popped up, and everyone started laughing. It was so embarrassing, and it's funny because I actually had a really similar story a couple weeks ago. I used the same flash drive for a group project, and I was like, guys, I have all my One Direction songs on here. I can't do this. And they're like, just put it in a folder. And I'm really glad I did, because otherwise it would have popped up again, and it would have been the 8th grade part 2. I always have really fond memories of One Direction and just attached to them. As much as they ruined my life, they are really a big part of it, and I couldn't thank them enough for being in my life. And I'm still supporting them, and I will always support them. And they are my original boys, and they, like, nothing will ever change that. No matter what happens, they will always have that place in my life. I will tell you guys about my experience with Zayn leaving too. My friend is a Zayn girl, and I remember we got the news, we were in lunch, and we got the news, it was through a Facebook post, and we were all pissed off because they were like, they didn't even do it through Twitter. And I remember all of us were like sobbing, and we went to go pick up my friend who's a Zayn girl, and we were like, dude, Zayn just left One Direction. She's like, no, you're lying. And she checked it, and all of us are like hysterically sobbing in the hallway. It was really bad. And I remember like sitting through band and not being able to sit through band because we were just like, I can't believe Zayn left. Like that was, we were really distraught over that, sis. Like, you have no idea. I'm insane. This is a message on the off chance that any of my boys are listening to Niall, Liam, Louis, Harry, and Zayn. Yes, including Zayn, because he was part of my OG boys. Thank you for everything. You guys have helped me through so many difficult times in my life, and even to quote that one girl in This Is Us, like, they don't know me, but I know that they care about me. Kind of sounds insane, but I believe that to be true. I believe in my boys 100%, and I love them. I love you guys. Thank you for everything, for giving me the opportunity to make friends, for giving me the opportunity to find myself, for getting me through such difficult times in my life, and I will never be able to repay you, and you guys are one of the most special people in my life, and I'm so proud to be your fan, and I'm so proud to support you guys through both One Direction, through all your solo events and stuff, and I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with next. You know, one band, one dream, One Direction. Oh man! That's still gross to this day. So thank you guys for watching, for listening to my very long story about how much I love One Direction. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to know about any other fandoms I'm a part of, like, I'm a part of more than just musical fandoms, but musical fandoms are pretty much the basis. If you want me to do like a One Direction Q&A, that'd be kind of fun. If you guys want me to do like a 5 Seconds of Summer Q&A, or like a fandom Q&A. I just really like talking, and I'm slowly losing my mind in this quarantine. Like, someone get me out of this house. One of my family members doesn't murder the other by the end of this. Like, it'll be a miracle, honestly. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, learning about why One Direction in particular is super special to me. Hope you guys all stay safe throughout this time. For all of my friends who are still in school, good luck to you guys. I'm also moving online, and I'm a marine bio major. My labs are supposed to be online, and I don't know how the hell we're gonna manage that. Like, I really don't. It's trying time. If you like the video, give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you really want to, and if you really, really want to, you can hit the bell so you can see when I upload for the post notifications, or you can follow me on all of my socials. My Twitter is Janella Kid, my Instagram is Janella Kid Vlogs, and my Tumblr is swimmingismywholelife.tumblr.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day, night, afternoon, or at least you're coping, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!
built together, we let it come see. Maybe that's the reason that he's going these things. And all those conversations are secrets that I keep. No, it makes no sense to me. I know you know love is something into your need, you're perfect to me. Now I'll let this little thing slip out of my mouth. It's true, it's you, oh it's you, they have to. I'm in love with you. Don't do anything. If I let you know I'll be for you, and you love somebody got you sing. Love you, oh. So just let these little things slip out of my mouth. 'Cause it's you, it's you, they have to. And I'm in love with you. Finish the song, my life. I will let these little things slip out of my mouth. But it's you, it's you, it's you, they add up to. I'm in love with you. Scream it!
Is a song that I wrote with a band called McFly from the UK a year and a half ago. And basically it sums up situations like this. Because we come from small places all over Ireland and England, places like Mullingar and and like Holmes Chapel, Wolverhampton, Doncaster, places like this. And it's to be able to travel all over the world, and if it wasn't for you guys, we won't be able to do this and play in fantastic stadiums like this, in beautiful places like Jersey and New York. So when I was writing this one, I was basically thinking about what you guys have done for us over the last 4 years, and the journey that we've been all together as a little family.